What if it was holy to be abundant? How would that belief change your life and change your standards? We're talking about that in this episode of Broke to Awoke. One of my favorite things to do, Britnie, is challenge people to stop using the word money and start using the word currency.
Where is that?
I think it's because we have so many beliefs, feelings, energy tied to the word money. And if you start shifting, someone told me once, if you change your words, you change your world.
Who was that?
She's hot.
Whoa.
Yeah. She's a hottie. Her name is Britnie Turner.
Oh, man.
And it was such a unique thought because all you have to do is change your words. And if you change your words, you will change your world. And if we start shifting the word money into currency, I have found that people have no reservations, no feelings, no emotional attachment to the word currency. And as you understand the word currency, start thinking about like a current.
Mm-hmm.
Because money, as you just mentioned in the last episode, flows. Ebbs and flows.
And it
kind of like
ebbs.
a current.
And it ebbs.
And then you have an ebb.
And then it ebbs.
And then you have a bow. Then you have a flow.
And it flows.
Yeah. So the thought process there definitely is, as we make these shifts, it allows us to start stepping into abundance. And so the question that I'd like to propose to you, what was it for you? How did you actually mentally start shifting into a mindset of that abundant belief?
This podcast, we choose to get real.
Yeah. Hit me with some realness.
We get real. And I'll tell you, it's still a struggle for me. Weirdly, I have done so much, and I've done so much very young. I've broken so many barriers in the female world, blah, blah, blah. But it is a daily struggle. And I think it's because those childhood beliefs are so strong. You know, as a builder, the foundation's one of the most important pieces of the entire project. And so identifying what makes up your foundational beliefs and really identifying if they're serving you to be able to build this house of abundance that you want to live in, this skyscraper of abundance. Do you have the right foundation?
Yeah.
And until you do an exercise yourself to be able to identify, what are my beliefs? And then where did those come from? Did those get handed to me, or are those ones that I chose? And I think that's just something really important to do as an adult in all the most important areas of your life, is to ask yourself, what do I believe about marriage? What do I believe about money? What do I believe about health? What do I believe about spirituality? All those things. Where did that belief come from? Do I want to choose to continue to engage in this belief? Because when I am not more intentional, I have to do this every year, which is what I do at the Abundance Summit. Thankfully, that's a really great time for me to relook at things that might be holding me back. I see more things in there. I'm like, where did that come from? That came from a twisted scripture. That came from somebody scaring me into thinking God's going to destroy me. That came from me seeing somebody who wasn't good with money. And always hearing we didn't have enough. We're short this month. We're short this month. We're short this month. Why is it in my subconscious? We're short this month. And how do I override that? So for me, it really started to shift when I decided to change my habit thoughts. And I know we've probably talked about this before, but habit thoughts are thoughts that are there on the regular. And again, is it something serving you? So I try to pull myself out of the moment or the situation or the habit and ask myself by going aerial and saying, is this something I want to keep doing? So what are your habit thoughts around money? Is it helpful? And if it's not helpful, but it's stuck there, how do you change your own belief system when it's been something you've thought for 30 years, potentially? And so I have to actually take the time to write out a powerful new belief and then back it up with a why that's bigger than the negative belief.
Yeah.
And I really get to look at it and call myself crazy or not. Is this real? So for example, if you gave me $1 billion, what am I going to go do with it?
Yeah.
Are you actually going to become a bad person, Britnie, when you've shown no track record of ever doing things bad with money? You've only ever gone and done good things.
Mhm.
Your heart is in check. So therefore, what would you do with $1 billion? Make the plan for it. You make a plan for it, it's probably going to find its way to you sooner.
Right.
So for me, the answer to your question is I'm very logical. I have to work through it. I have to see it. I have to know it. I have to be able to defend it, because my arguing for my limitations can be very strong inside because I've tied it to holiness. It's still tied in my brain that it is holy to be broke. It is holy to be poor. But my logical adult brain says, why would it be holy to not be able to help more people? Why would it be holy to not be God's hands and feet when money is the vehicle to being able to get people the help that they need many times, be it funding a flight or food or shelter or rehabilitation programs? Money is a great fuel for all those things. And so I just had to really rework it because I do want to be holy. You know, my relationship with God is the most important thing to me my whole life. And so I get to ask myself, is this belief about God real? And you get to challenge that for yourself. So I'll pose the question back to you, sir. How did you start to shift your mindset into one of abundance? Because we were both broke. That's what this podcast is about.
Wait, what?
We were very broke.
We were broke?
For a very long time. And we've probably been broke multiple times after that.
What? We had no money for a long time?
Yeah.
You know, for me, the big one was putting myself in an environment where I was the poorest person. It's just such a great spot to
Resetting your circle?
Yeah, resetting the circle.
Ooh, resetting your standard.
Changing, first of all, knowing what a standard is. And, right? Knowing what a standard is, that was a big shift for me.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what it means to have a standard.
Mhm.
Okay, now, a great example is when I moved out of my house, the day I turned 18, I was like, boom, lease signed. May 2nd, I was in an apartment. And I said, this air conditioning is going to be 72 or lower for the rest of my life.
Rich.
I'm going to have this.
Yes, this is your fancy shampoo.
Right.
It's your
right.
big sexy hair.
Right. Yeah. And that was it. So it was the setting of a standard for me. And this is probably the very, very, very first time I just drew this line in the sand. Was I said, I don't care how much the energy bill is. I'm going to pay it. Now, this is Florida. This is Gainesville, Florida. I moved out at 18 years old, got an apartment complex in Fox Hollow, I believe. Not the greatest. It was $650 for a 2-bedroom. So,
wow.
Yeah, not the best part of town, but got that apartment.
That AC worked, though.
That AC worked. And it was at 60, 65, because obviously my dad, right, never ran the AC ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel AC until I was 12.
With dads?
What? Why?
Why, dads? Is it because you're not home? You're at work all day. You don't care if we're frying or freezing?
Come on. My dad had an air conditioning.
My dad wouldn't even get ours fixed.
It's the best. I love dads. They're the best.
But you can't have an electric blanket because you'll set the house on fire.
Mm-hmm. Wild.
Or sleeping outside the fire.
Yeah, wild. It's so many cool memories. But that was a big one, man. Just putting the standard in place. And I think a lot of people, when you start making certain standards and you go, this is it. This is what I accept now for the rest of my life. This is the only way it's going to be. You can't retreat from that. You can't go back from that. As an example, let's say you go, for the rest of my natural born life, I am donating $1,000 to this particular charity every month. Every month. And right now, if you currently give $200 a month, this is a whole new standard now.
Mm-hmm.
Whole new standard's been shifted. Your brain's going to go, yeah, but I can't afford that. Right? Okay. Figure it out.
Yeah.
It's now a standard. You have to.
I was going to ask you, would you call this the diva standard? Like, because it kind of sounds a little deviant. Where's the line on like on
I'm a diva
on abundance, versus diva to you?
I think that would probably be best answer for me. Best guess is when you create standards that are irrelevantly important. They're not important. There's no real validation to why they should be valid. An example, I can only use this particular type of shampoo. And this is the only type of shampoo I'm ever going to use and nothing else is acceptable.
Oh.
It's like, well, okay, but that's not affecting anyone else in the world other than you. It's just your hair.
Yeah.
You can use another shampoo. Like your hair's not going to fall out. It's not bad, but people can die from not receiving money, right? So if you have a standard of I'm going to do this, but it's going to be impactful, it's going to be helpful, people are going to be able to benefit from this. But if you have a particular standard, if you're saying like what a diva would be, I think it would probably just be something that has no real relevance or impact on other people. It's just your standard and there's no particular reason why and there's no validation or reference. What about you? What do you think?
I have always had a standard for my environment. So when I moved out of my car, I actually moved into a condo. I didn't realize illegally.
Oh.
Yeah. So I didn't realize it wasn't my fault. The person renting it to me wasn't supposed to make it a rental. And so he's like, after I signed the lease, he's like, yeah, you got to say you're my niece. And I was like, what? So, anyway, it was kind of a weird deal. But I did get the deal of a lifetime. I was spending $500 a month on a 28th floor condo at downtown Nashville with the most insane view. So I literally called, I was living in my car and I remember calling this agent and saying, I just need to live, I don't care if it's a dungeon. I want to live somewhere near downtown because I was like 45 minutes away from downtown. And she's like, well, what can you afford? I said, $500. And I was lying because I did not have $500. But I was like, I'll have to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be some dungeon piece of crap place. But I go up the elevator and I see this room and I was like, oh, it was furnished too. It was so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Dang.
Yeah, it was amazing. But what happened to my life going up high and having that perspective, it changed so much for what I believed was possible for my life. And it wasn't like, I need the fancy assist. But when I went to Africa, I think it was a year later to go serve, and I met these little kids that had been pulled out of the garbage heaps and had been sexually abused since they were 2. And both their parents died of AIDS and just really rough life. And then that little girl had a vision that she wanted to be the president of Kenya someday. I realized the power of environment there as well. And so for me, I wouldn't say I've required it and like put my foot down, but I've always set an internal standard for myself that I will live in places that inspire me. I'll live in places that have a lot of nature and always a really beautiful view. And I've always driven a cool car. And that cool car may have been $5,000, but it was still a cool car.
Sure.
When I was 15, that's what I bought, was a Camaro convertible. Did not have air conditioning. I was like completely sweaty back on the way to high school every day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Literally like just sweat running down my back. But I looked cool with that top down.
That's right.
So, yeah, there's something about looking cool and having a cool environment, a beautiful, inspiring environment that shifts what's possible for you.
Well, that carried you a long way because you mentioned nature. Like a lot of the homes that you built, obviously the island, but I mean, so many other applications, like you always weave nature or beauty into those elements because, again, that was your standard for you.
Well, there's no better developer than God. I mean, you go out to nature and it will change you.
Yeah.
I mean, could you go into a space or a place that changes you and gets you back to center? Why not copy that one? Let's copy that guy. So that's really how I tried to always make my homes, my spaces, my island, my future resorts, my future healing centers. All of them are just embracing what God's already made, bringing that in as much, and then weaving it into the space itself. I do not like anything fakey. As much as it can feel clean, but nature, that's where we're going. But there's a whole design logic and ethos that I've developed around it, which again comes from this abundance mindset. How do you get back to the essence of who we are? Because the essence of who we are is God.
Yeah.
We came from there. Yeah. That is our very soul connection is still absolutely God, which is love for those listening, the weird filter. So if you can get people back to that, they're going to find peace. They're going to find truth. They're going to find answers. And again, when you actually get back to that place, you're going to realize that the creator of all things, past, present, future, that continues to go out and create the expansions of the universe, there is nothing but abundance. There's absolutely nothing but abundance. So why, just like you were sharing before, would you think that you're taking away from something that's ever creating versus knowing that you're part of that?
Yeah.
And that's I think, even in our DNA, is to be a creator like our Father.
Abundance has always been there. We create scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just a limitation. If it's scarcity, if it's lack, that's human.
Well, scarcity sells. It is a human instinct to want to survive. So we're going to pay attention to scarcity. We're going to hang on to it just because eventually you probably will be right for at least 5 minutes. But that's not how we roll.
Yeah, no, but that's a good point. Scarcity does sell. Fear scales, fear sells, right? Panic, worry. It's easy to hook onto that and just scare people into like, this isn't going to end. This is all gonna be over tomorrow.
That's why all the news centers, which are for profits, are crushing it with their fear mindset. So with that, we've discussed beginning to develop that abundance mindset. I'd love some more tips from you. And then in the next episode, I think we should talk about the global economy. What's going on?
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun.
How should we navigate these challenges? But before we go there, give me some rapid fire tips on developing a mindset of abundance.
Rapid fire tips for developing a mindset of abundance. Number 1, change your words. Just go through your vocabulary, listen to yourself, record yourself speaking for a whole 5 minutes, and actually listen to what you say and radically start shifting your words. Change your vocabulary. Number 2, read more books.
Yes.
And or, this is the position I'm in life right now. I'm reading the same books over and over and over again. Right. So I'm kind of going back to those OGs. The original gangsters. I'm going back to Think and Grow Rich. I'm going back to Outwitting the Devil. I continually go back to some of those really, really remarkable books. Listen to more podcasts. # broke to Awoke.
Hey.
Now, what's going on?
Shout out.
So listen to podcasts that you like. Spend time around influential individuals. This is probably number 4, right? Because the time that you're spending around people, that can be books, that can be podcasts, but physically in person is going to be always better.
Well, there's so much that goes with
there's so much
the shift in you is a lot more likely when you're around the energy of the person you want to be like.
Yes. Get
in the room.
Number 5 is give more. Whatever you're giving, give more.
Love that.
It's going to put you into a state of abundance because the secret to living is giving. The more you give, the more you receive. You got to start leaning into that faith. You got to start believing that. Most people don't believe that. They don't have the courage to actually step into it and go, okay, I'm giving $800 a month. Amazing. Let's go for $5,000. Like, but I can't do that. Trust me, you can. And when you do, when you start finding ways to actually, really, legitimately give more, everything starts working out faster. Everything starts working in your favor. Everything starts shifting for you. You start noticing little tiny miracles, or call them coincidences, or call them opportunities. The seeds of opportunities will start to sprout. You'll start noticing so much more. Giving more will always put you into a state of abundance. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel more alive. It makes you feel on purpose. And when you are living in your purpose, by definition, you're living in abundance. You're going to feel so much more aligned. You're going to feel so much more blessed, so much more opportunistic when you start giving more. So that one, to me, is the fastest and most radical way to change and to shift your abundant mindset.
Love that.
Hit me with 2 tips.
I mean, I agree with so much of that, which is, again, identify and clarify what's your foundational beliefs around it all so you don't self-sabotage.
Okay.
Big deal.
Yep.
Can't be doing all that and continue to grow. And then create that plan and know that you got to find like hacks for having faith around it. For me, a vision board was really helpful. Seeing it done and attaching that why, I got to have that for everything. So again, faith without works is dead. So creating that vision that can transcend the moments and knowing the obstacles, normalizing obstacles, copying a lot of what Elon Musk has done to build culture, which is, again, we're not failing enough. Instead of being shamed that we failed, no, we didn't get it perfect. Like, get rid of that crap. Like, we're not failing enough. Like, that was so helpful for me. So finding people who are places you want to be, or walking in maybe the world's richest man kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How did they do that? And they have these kind of systems in place to be able to navigate what would normally knock people out of the game. And then taking radical action, knowing that you're gonna fail, you're gonna look stupid until you're not. And there's a reason the world needs you to walk in abundance. So take the time to figure it out. Read the books. I promise you, it's easier to learn how to make money than it is to learn how to play an instrument. A lot easier.
Oh my gosh.
Easier. And there's like crazy talented people everywhere. And I just look at them like, you could have made so much more money if you just learned how to do. And that's amazing. They're talented. I just think, golly, they're just amazingly driven for nothing.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. I'm sure it's rewarding, but yeah, it's not that hard. We just complicate it up here.
Yeah.
So find ways to hack into this, rebuild your system, create that foundation, and go. And with that, we will see you in the next episode.
In addition to this podcast, the award-winning transformational podcast known as broke2awoke.com, we now are also launching our separate individual podcasts that are focusing on different things. They're also addressing different challenges and that are designed and implementing brand new mind shifts for people all around the world. Go to broke2awoke.com and check out the individual podcasts that both myself and Britnie are creating for more impact in this world.